Good evening. It's the 15th of July, and you are joining us for the Pompey Politics podcast, PMQ special, as we bid farewell to Keir Starmer as he's in fact going home. I'm Ian Tiny Morris.
And I'm Simon Sainsbury. Good evening, Ian, and good evening, listeners and viewers. Thank you very much for joining us on, well, another hot evening. But were today's events in Parliament at Keir Starmer's last PMQs, were they a heated debate, or were they actually more chilled than usual? Should we kind of go straight into the lead-ins here?
I think we better jump straight in because there's going to be all sorts of niceness going on, isn't there, to start with? So let's kick it.
I know. Try to bear with it.
Can I thank the Prime Minister for his public service, his international leadership, particularly in his steadfast support for Ukraine. I am sure members will wish to join me in wishing him and his family well in the future. And let's hope this Prime Minister will be bringing home a winning England World Cup from the chest. On that note, I'm going to call Graham Stewart.
Question one, Mr. Speaker.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, can I thank you for your kind words? But I must start by saying I'm truly horrified by the murder of Anne Widdecombe. She was a distinguished politician with deep convictions, whose vivid and fearless character captured the public imagination. My heartfelt condolences go out to all of her friends and all of her loved ones. Mr. Speaker, it is chilling that during my time in this Parliament, 11 years, 3 serving or former MPs have been murdered. I look across at the shield for our dear friend Jo Cox and the shield for Sir David Amess that sits behind me. Mr. Speaker, I know this is a House matter, so this is my personal view. But I do believe it befitting for the House to consider a similar tribute to Anne. We thank the police for their work, and the integrity of their investigation must be protected. Mr. Speaker, you have been instrumental in defending the safety of every member of this House. And I believe we must do more to defend our democracy. I've tasked officials across government to identify the best mechanisms for taking this work forward so it can move as quickly as possible. And I hope the whole House can unite behind that in the months ahead. Mr. Speaker, let me also pay tribute to the courage of the Hillsborough families. The Hillsborough law we passed in this House last night is not only a law for them and the 97, it is a law that ensures the state serves millions of working people and always gives a voice to those who fight for justice. A law for everyone, delivered by a Labour government in the best traditions of the Labour movement. Mr. Speaker, this morning I have meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I have an important appointment with the television at 8 o'clock this evening.
Kemi Bear, not the Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, can I start by thanking the Prime Minister for the way he responded to the murder of Anne Widdecombe last week. This is the first opportunity I've had on the floor of the House to commemorate her life. A lot has been said about how she died. I want to focus on celebrating the life she lived. She was a woman of high principle, profound beliefs with a wicked sense of humour, a wonderful combination of being a serious person who did not take herself too seriously. She changed her faith from Anglican to Catholic and from the Conservative Party to the Brexit Party, but she always remained part of the Conservative family. You may not always have agreed with her, but Anne Widdecombe was a woman who said what she meant and meant what she said. Hers was an honesty that made our politics better. Her wit and forthrightness sat alongside a deep humanity and decency. She had wonderful turns of phrase. She said, "We need less political correctness and more political courage." She said, "If we deny our culture, become nothing and everything, that weakens us." And finally, Mr. Speaker, she also said, "It is a truth universally unacknowledged at Westminster that there is life after politics. So with that in mind, I turn to this Prime Minister's final questions. And Mr. Speaker, I wanted to make sure that I got the tone right today. So I looked back at his final questions to Boris Johnson, and luckily for him, I plan to be much gentler than he was that day. Week after week, the Prime Minister and I have clashed at this dispatch box and rarely agreed on anything. But there is one thing I did admire. When President Zelensky was attacked in the White House, the Prime Minister showed leadership and invited him to Downing Street. That was the right thing to do. Ukraine is on the front line in the battle for freedom. So does the Prime Minister agree that cross-party support for their cause must endure?
Prime Minister.
Can I start by joining her in a tribute to Anne Widdecombe? I know that the hurt is keenly felt across all her friends and family, but it is particularly keenly felt by political colleagues in the Conservative Party for many years and in Reform as well. And that's why one of the first things I did on Friday was to phone the Leader of the Opposition and the Leader and Deputy Leader of Reform to express my condolences and to try to act in a cross-party manner, because I knew how much this would hurt them and their parties and many people in their party. And I thank them for taking that call in the spirit that they did last Friday. I thank her for her comments about Ukraine. We have stood united on Ukraine in this House. We supported the last government in the approach that they took, and we've taken that approach on. That meeting with President Zelensky, the day after he was evicted from the Oval Office, he left alone. He got a plane. We got him to come to London, and I asked him to come to Downing Street straight away. And I walked out to meet him. I gave him a hug, and then I showed him what was in the street, which was many people who had come thinking that he was visiting Downing Street. And the moment he got out the car and hugged me, they cheered on the top of their voices, the British people, to tell President Zelensky exactly what they thought of him and the way that he had been treated. And that was a really emotional moment, because it was the first human contact he had effectively had outside of his immediate team since he left the Oval Office. I had a meeting with him to tell him that in this country we will stand with him and Ukraine, and I didn't let him leave alone. I walked him out to his car, because we don't let people in Britain walk out of our buildings alone. We escort them out.
I'm just going to pause there at a quick point. So, sombre but heartfelt so far. Obviously, the awful situation, the awful news of Anne Widdecombe's murder last week that broke, and obviously there's been developments since, so we won't go into detail of that because it's an ongoing investigation.
Yeah.
But I think strong points celebrating her life. Lots of people might not have agreed with what she stood for, but you knew where you stood, and she's, meaning what you say and saying what you mean is perhaps something missing.
Yeah, and I think that is the piece where I've seen a lot of good and bad since, and unfortunately, divisiveness it gets clicks and likes. But I've been particularly impressed by the number of people who said, "Well, I fundamentally disagreed with her on so many different issues, but I admired her courage to stand by what she believed." And I think there is that element of, when you look at politics and perhaps the populism that comes into politics, there's more of a temptation to say what is popular rather than what you believe. And I think, in the exchange there around Anne Widdecombe, there was an acknowledgement that perhaps one of the last generations of politicians, who was really driven by a strong set of beliefs, and kind of wouldn't bend those to fit what was the popular narrative of the day. And as I say, whether you agreed with her or not, and I know many didn't, and I didn't always agree with her, but somebody who had what they considered to be their moral compass and used that to guide them.
Yeah, indeed. Some other good. So we're off to a collective agreement. Quite a somber. We've got a somber tone there. So we're off to a a collective kind of start. So let's kind of hear some more just before I click into that. Please do remember to give us a like or a comment, or do give us a follow or a subscribe wherever you're kind of catching us. But let's hear the further questions from the Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Badenoch.
Can I thank the Prime Minister for that answer? And no doubt he will be disappointed that he won't be emulating his hero, Harold Wilson, in winning multiple elections. However, we all hope that he may be about to emulate him in another way, by being the Prime Minister when England win the World Cup. That is something that every single one of us in this House should get behind, especially the SNP. Mr. Speaker, as leader of the opposition, the Prime Minister led his party to a landslide after a historic defeat. I fully intend to do the same. But if you want to lead this country, you should set out your plans to do so. We have. But one politician intends to spend the summer avoiding scrutiny, refusing to set out his plans. So does he not agree that what the country deserves is a televised debate between Nigel Farage and Count Binface?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, they intend to spend the summer arguing with the bin. My advice to everyone is put your vote in the bin. Mr. Speaker, can I just say that I'm delighted today that we are joined in the gallery by some of the people I've met across the country in opposition and in power. And these are the people in the gallery today who are in my mind's eye. People like Trevor and Lewis. They worked together at JLR for over 30 years, and I visited them just before we got the deal with America when tariffs were threatened, and I faced the entire workforce that day who were very, very concerned that they were going to lose their jobs because the tariffs would not be possible for JLR. And when we went back, when we got the deal, I took the call from President Trump at JLR in Solihull so that they could hear the deal and they knew exactly what it would mean for them. The only mistake I made was putting it on loudspeaker, which of course is always a slightly unpredictable thing to do when you've got President Trump on the other end. But luckily he agreed the deal and the cheer went out. But these are the people across the galleries who are here with us today that are always in my mind's eye.
Okay, Ben.
Mr. Speaker, I know how much the Prime Minister has come to enjoy our exchanges. In fact, in the King's speech last month, he told me that on difficult days, my input was always a ray of sunshine. He might not have answered many of the questions I asked him, but at least he turned up. It is important to respect Parliament. So does the Prime Minister agree with me that his successor should come to this place and answer questions rather than scurrying away for the summer?
Yes. Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, as Prime Minister, I have participated in over 60 PMQs. Always a pleasure, always something to look forward to. And I've answered, or at least given answers, on 2,800 times. And I'm sure she will question my successor in the same way. And I'm sure she'll forgive me if I just mention one or two others who are in the gallery who have been affected by the decisions we've made, because Billy, who is sitting in the gallery in front of me, was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2023. She was there, Mr. Speaker, when we launched our plan for change, and she's been a tireless advocate for better cancer care. Billy joins us today from the Special Needs School where she works in London, and I'm pleased to tell the House that Billy's cancer is in remission.
Can I thank the Prime Minister for that answer and paying tribute to so many of the people who he has been able to help. In fact, I remember when I started this job, the Prime Minister was very helpful to me, saying that I wouldn't last the year. Life comes at you fast. He spent a long time laughing that I'd lost control of my party. I think he should have been paying attention to his backbenchers instead of mine. But everyone in politics would do well to remember how quickly political fortunes can change. I know that he has been asked and he's being diplomatic, but on that note, does he have any advice for his successor?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I will give my wholehearted support to my successor. I want this Labour government to be a success. I want our country to be a success. I shall give my support privately if asked for, not publicly when not asked for. But, Mr. Speaker, I also, if I may, wanted to draw attention to Pooja, who's with us in the gallery today with her daughter. I first met Pooja in a cafe at the back of Euston Station, and she told me about her son Ronan, who was murdered when he was 16, having just done his GCSEs. I have to say, as a father of two teenagers, I found that very hard to hear. His killer, who was also a teenager, collected a ninja sword and a machete from his local post office. He bought them online using a parent's credit card, a fake name with no ID checks. And when I heard that, I said to Pooja that I would campaign with her to get the law changed and make a commitment and a promise to her. And that's why we passed Ronan's Law, driven by Pooja's inspirational campaigning. And today I'd just like the opportunity to thank her for that.
Just going to pause there for a bit. So, I mean, maybe Keir Starmer telling Kemi Badenoch that she wouldn't last the year actually helped her, because that kind of rallied people around her.
Yeah,
I
mean, the tone is nice on this, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, it is the thing. One of the things I love about Kemi at PMQs is she's genuinely funny. So, whether she writes it herself, whether she's got a team that works with her, she's genuinely funny. And for me, that kind of balance of gently kind of ribbing him a bit and I think he's playing along, in terms of, the old, well, I answered the questions, or I at least gave answers. We've touched on that many times. For me, and acknowledging the people along the way. And I think this is, it's interesting. We touched on it a couple of shows ago, which is that list of, it spawned our show about, is Britain ungovernable? Because when you look at the list of successes that, were verifiable for Sir Keir Starmer, it's not 1973 and all the lights going out and 3-day working weeks, and so it is very, it's kind of interesting to reflect on this one today, as Kemi gently pulls his leg rather than tearing it off and beating him with the bloody end.
Yes, there's less of a vicious tone and less of a personal attack kind of element to it. There's a personable, as you say. There's a kind of gentle ribbing. Are there any prizes for guessing who the "I'll give my advice privately if asked, but not publicly if not asked"? Is that aimed at anybody? With the initials TB by any chance?
Possibly.
Possibly. More?
Yeah. Let's go.
Mr. Speaker, that is a lovely statement that the Prime Minister has just made to Pooja. I'm sure the whole House will agree. I think the whole House will also agree that he gave a very diplomatic answer to the question I asked him on advice to his successor. And having heard it, I say this to Labour MPs with as much goodwill as I can muster. We have been where you are. Changing Prime Minister is not a silver bullet. Indeed, it may be that the Labour Party's troubles are only just beginning. Solving the fundamental problems in this country will require difficult decisions. And you also need to know how to get things done. The Prime Minister once said that when he pulled the levers, nothing happened. Why did he think that was?
Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we did pull the levers. We pulled the levers to stabilise the economy, and we've stabilised the economy. We pulled the levers to strengthen our public services, and NHS waiting lists are coming down at the fastest rate for 17 years. We pulled a big lever on child poverty, and this government will be doing more on child poverty than any government ever, including previous Labour governments. We put the biggest investment into defence and security, and our international standing has been restored. But, Mr. Speaker, we also pulled the lever on the individual cases that matter, including individuals like Carla, who's in the gallery today. She it was one of the parents that came to see me about online harm and the harm it can do to our young children, and that's why we banned social media for under 16s. And Daniel, who's also here with his son, who spoke to me many times about the struggles he's had with the cost of living and the need for a safe and secure home for every family and every child to grow up in. They're the people, Mr. Speaker, that matter more to me than anything else, because it's their lives that I think about when we make decisions in this government.
Final question, Kevin Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So for my last question, the Prime Minister may not think so now, but it is a tribute to him that not a single sitting Labour MP could beat him. Not the member for Ashton-under-Lyne, who couldn't count her taxes, not the member for Sheffield Heeley, who couldn't count how many phones she'd lost, and definitely not the member for Ilford North, who couldn't count to 81. This is my last exchange with the Right Honourable Gentleman, and I know how much his wife and children mean to him, and that they are in the gallery today. As everyone here knows, our families make a huge sacrifice for our choice to enter public life. So I hope he will allow me to draw our time together to a close by thanking them for the love and support they have given him throughout his time in office.
Prime Minister.
Can I thank her very much for that? It is the last question I'll face from the Leader of the Opposition, and so let me wish her well and her family. We have had robust exchanges across this dispatch box, but she has extended kindness to me privately at very difficult times, including when there was an attempt to burn down our family home, which deeply affected my family. She reached out to me. And when my brother died of cancer, she reached out to me privately, not across this dispatch box. And I thank her for that and the tribute that she's just made to my wife and children, who mean the world to me. I do thank her for that. She knows this is robust, and it has to be robust, and that's the way politics is done. But the kindnesses that sit behind it privately are often just as powerful, if not more powerful, and I thank her for that. I also stood at that dispatch box, Mr. Speaker, for 4 years as Leader of the Opposition. I know firsthand it's the most difficult job in politics, and that is what she is doing. When I did so, Mr. Speaker, we had just lost the 2019 election, which nearly broke my party. It was the worst result since 1935, and we were found to be institutionally anti-Semitic. And, Mr. Speaker, I picked up our party, I turned it round, I made a promise to rip anti-Semitism out of my party, and I did. I turned my party to face the country, and we won a landslide Labour general election. And after 2 years, we've stabilised the economy. We have invested heavily in our public services. We put better protections in for children, particularly on child poverty. We've strengthened our defence, and we've enhanced our international reputation. I'm proud to leave this country in a better shape than I found it. Thank you.
So we'll dive away quickly there. So some very interesting observations then from Kemi Badenoch, levelling with the Labour Party about changing PM is not the silver bullet. You might find that things are about to get harder. Very, very. I did think when they're talking about pulling levers, I did think for a minute whether they meant LEAVERS or LEVERS.
Yeah, could be either.
But the kindness that sits behind it are just as powerful.
Interesting.
Really hits deep, doesn't it?
Yeah, I glad you gave me a moment. I thought it was it's interesting that often PMQs is seen as theatre, and it is. It's played out as theatre, and I think it's interesting that often I don't see it as much. I think she's just funny, but a lot of people find her unkind. Um, and people have even used the word spiteful at the dispatch box. So it was very interesting for both of them to close in that way to give a different perspective.
Yes, two sparring partners respecting each other as one of them bows out the ring, as I kind of butcher the metaphor. Just for the reference, the member of Parliament for Ilford North.
That'd be Wes, wouldn't it?
That'd be Wes Street, Wes Coronation Streeting, as I've come to calling him, because not being able to count to 81 means that Andy Burnham will be coronated into the leadership and then to PM. So shall we move on to Ed Davey?
Yeah, I guess the only just bit there which she hinted on was that I think the Conservatives did try and get a motion to extend the sitting of Parliament by one day, so that on Friday Andy could come and give his kind of this is what I'm all about, and I think that motion got pulled so that they all pack up on tomorrow and go home, and so we won't see Andy in Parliament as leader until he strolls in September. So let's ready our unicycles. It's time for Ed Davey.
Bring on the Davey.
Ed Davey, leader of the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I associate myself with so many of the Prime Minister's comments today, but particularly his remarks about Anne Widdecombe? She devoted her life to public service, and her murder was truly horrifying, and I support his campaign now for a memorial in this chamber to her. Can I also thank the Leader of the Opposition for her tribute to Anne, and to remind the whole House and the whole country that we need to remember Anne for the way she lived her life. I have to make a confession. I've always been slightly jealous of Anne for appearing on Strictly Come Dancing. Mr. Speaker, but can I join the whole nation, and hopefully every nation, in wishing England well against Argentina tonight, after their superb win against Norway? And it's the last job of the Prime Minister to make sure we win the World Cup. But can I also pick up on a remark from the Leader of the Opposition about the by-election we're about to see in Clacton? I have to tell her I cannot back joke figures with ridiculous policies, which is why I'm supporting Count Binface. Mr. Speaker, as the Prime Minister finds himself with more time on his hands, can I recommend the new Toy Story film? For those of you who don't know Toy Story, its main character used to be in law enforcement, but was mainly known for being a little wooden, but was replaced by a shiny new action figure from far away who thinks he can fly, and the name Andy on everyone's lips. Perhaps, Mr. Speaker, maybe the Prime Minister should give that a miss. But does he share my fear that when it comes to Britain's national debt, the Right Honourable Member for Makerfield's plan is to infinity and beyond?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, can I first? So it's a very. He's clearly angling to go on Strictly Come Dancing, and no doubt he'd be very good at it. And I've some good news for him, because he is, fittingly, the Right Honourable Member for Chessington World of Adventures. And I'm supposing he talks about the economy. I'm pleased to tell him that thanks to our summer savings, his family can save nearly £20 when they visit this summer.
Sir Ed Davey.
Mr. Speaker, can I invite the Prime Minister to join me at Chessington World Adventures? And we haven't always agreed across the floor, but can I pay my own tribute?
Yes, you have.
I've disagreed with them on Europe, and I've disagreed with you on Europe. So shall I say to the Prime Minister that although we've not always agreed, I've always admired the way he has led his party. I've always admired the way he's been a true patriot, and I always admire the way he's worked with so many people across this House to do the best for the national interest, and we thank him for his public service. And Mr. Speaker, one of the Prime Minister's qualities that people most underestimate comes from his experience as a carer. He's spoken powerfully about looking after his mother through her battle with Steele's disease and the love and care he gave to his brother Nick. And I know the Prime Minister agrees that we can and must do more for family carers. So as he leaves number 10, will he join with me and other carers across this House to speak up for family carers, to be their voice, and to get them the support they deserve?
Yes, and can I thank him for everything he's done in relation to social care and the importance of providing care. And he does it with very real human experience that we all know and we all respect. And no doubt he will continue to champion that, as everybody should. He asked me about joining him at Chessington World of Adventures. I will. Can I suggest 12 noon on the first Wednesday in September?
So that was kind of the end there.
Yeah.
12 noon on the first Wednesday of September. Anyway,
It's got to be the first PMQs, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, he's got a date in his diary, an open date in his diary for definite. So yeah, no, I think a nice ending. You know, yeah, did like the you know, again, so whoever's Ed's joke writer has got better with the to infinity and beyond with the
Really? I
national
thought
debt.
that was so butchered the Vegan Society were going to complain.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it's one of those things. It was giving a decent joke to your nan, wasn't it? Oh, there was this man, or was it a man? Oh, I think it might have been, you know, my late mum. Honestly, you could give her. So it was a decent enough joke. His delivery, yeah, I'd give the content 8 out of 10. His delivery was a 3, I'm afraid. So yeah, but no, nice exchange, and yeah, I guess it's that. I guess in conclusion, for me, you know, Sir Keir Starmer, is he the best Prime Minister ever to be chucked out after just 2 years?
Well, those are two very difficult things to compare, aren't they? Because best is quite subjective.
Yeah,
2
but
years is yeah. I can't help but think whether there will come a time that there will be buyer's remorse and there'll be regret that maybe of the you know, had he's been able to see out the term how that could have worked out. But if wishes were horses, that's, you know, that's not the way.
yeah,
That's not the way it's worked out.
I guess more what I'm saying, Simon, is usually you leave office early due to a scandal or a catastrophe or a national disaster or
True.
something does for you. You know, at the end of the day, you know, lacking charisma and being a bit wooden isn't usually enough to do for you.
Yes, it's of all the failings, it's not really one layered with guilt, is it?
No. So I guess we now hold our breath until Friday, although there's no breath holding to be done because Andy is going to be crowned king. We will have a new minister for mascara, and
unless there's some sort of crazy thing and his nomination is rejected because it's invalid somehow.
Yeah,
which I can't see happening, but
I don't think that's going to go
I think
on.
the chances are very, very slim.
Yeah, so we will now take a break from PMQs until the first Wednesday in September. But for those who love the cut and thrust, we'll be back on Sunday as we review the Portsmouth Full Council meeting. But this evening, you've been listening to the Pompey Politics podcast. Farewell to Sir Kay. I've been Ian Tiny Morris.
And I've been Simon Sansbury. Please do make sure, give us a like, comment, follow, subscribe, etc. We'd love to hear what you've got to say, but give us a subscribe or a follow wherever you're listening, a review, so that you make sure you get more episodes. But join us 6:27, where we'll be looking at that full council meeting, which has a packed agenda. See you then, 6:27 Sunday.
Don't forget to like,
follow and comment on Facebook, or comment and subscribe on YouTube. Find us on all the social media platforms: Facebook, X, YouTube, Threads, LinkedIn.